Today we're talking about a very important topic, and it's all about water, water quality, water systems, some biohacking tips for your water. You already know that 70% of our bodies and the planet is actually made of water. But now the thing with that is it's not like it's just a bunch of water doing nothing, it's making up your tissue. So it's kind of there to generate new tissues. The thing about water is that it's a universal solvent. So what that means is it absorbs everything that it's in. Water is also very conductive due to its mineral content. It kind of acts as a crystal absorbing information. So what is the importance of water? Well, one, it's designed to maintain and balance our DNA, generate reactions in the mitochondria like generating ATP. We know that the blood is 90% water, so it's very important for that. It is required for moving the lymphatic system, which is responsible for transporting immune cells throughout the entire body. It's needed to generate synovial fluid. It helps with neurotransmitters, hormones. It kind of acts as a superhighway to transmit things throughout the entire body. So now let's talk about different water sources. So number one is the municipal water supply that we think of. So this is the tap water, and it is unfortunately very subpar. But what I want to get out of the way is that in many third world countries is that water is like the leading cause of illness. Like a lot of people are drinking water that looks like coffee. So we are very fortunate in that sense that we don't have that. So keep that in mind. But at the same time, like there's a lot of issues with the water itself. We know that a lot of tap water is found to be contaminated with chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, pharmaceutical drugs, trace amounts of that, pesticides. The thing about chlorine is it kind of acts as an antibiotic, so it's not very good for the microbiome because we know that it kills all things. It's designed to not just kill harmful bacteria, but also damages the beneficial bacteria. And a lot of things with this is that we talk about, like, it's all good in trace amounts. It's all trace amounts, right? Well, the problem is when you add that up all the time, if you're drinking that every day, day in and day out, it's not small amounts anymore. And not to mention that the water that you put in your body is literally creating your tissues. So we want to have the highest quality stuff either way. And quick thing about fluoride is that it was actually originally developed as a pharmaceutical drug to suppress the thyroid. Because there's two types of fluoride. You got calcium fluoride and sodium fluoride. The calcium fluoride is kind of more natural. It's in natural spring water, certain foods and things like that. But the sodium fluoride is this synthetic man-made drug, and this is the one that is unfortunately in the water supply and the dentistry system. So it's kind of a direct violation of our consent to take a drug by putting this in the water. There's so much research on how fluoride is detrimental for so many things like bones, thyroid, the brain. I'm not going to go through that today, but a lot of things about the fluoride making bones more strong and harder. It's not necessarily the case. It's more so about it makes the bones harder, but it's kind of like the more brittle type of hard. It's not a real solid strength. So number two, we're going into the reverse osmosis system. Now this is an excellent filtration system that filters down the water to 0.003 microns. Bacteria is 0.4 microns. So the thing about this water is that it's very clean. It's extremely clean water, but there is a problem with this. Like I said, water is a universal solvent, and pure H2O is not found anywhere in nature. When you look at water in nature, you're going to have water that is dissolved with minerals in it. Everywhere you look, there's always going to be minerals in water. And there's a lot of reasons for this. The minerals are required to process and make you more hydrated within that water. And if you don't have it, because the water needs the minerals, it's going to take it from your own body and it'll be left a little bit depleted. So keep that in mind. So the solution to this is actually add the minerals back in the water. So if you use the system, add salt back in. So high quality salt, so Celtic salt, red mineral salt, things like that, to kind of liven up the water, give it more life. It's not perfect, but it is a step up and is much better. Another thing with these systems is that they need cleaning. Like a lot of people don't know this, and the years go by and the systems are not clean, bacteria kind of builds up, and it is an issue. So learn how to clean it. There's directions on the site. But the thing is that the over-the-top systems on the counter, they're much easier to clean, and you can do it weekly instead of yearly. So things like an AquaTrue, and I also just made under the sink one that's much easier to clean as well. So transitioning over to number three, which is well water. Now well water is kind of this immature water. You can think of it like that because it has not gone through the Earth's hydrological cycle to clean the water because you're drilling down prematurely, which is why it's so rich in minerals. It's kind of this immature water that hasn't been totally cleaned. It's still very good water, but you may have to filter out some things. You don't want an RO system probably, but maybe some minor things. So just do some testing and see what you need to filter out because it's usually good water there. Number 4 here is spring water. Now this is what our ancestors have been using for thousands of years. This is what we always have been doing. We've been going to the springs. This is the most cleanest, most purest water you ever find because it's actually gone through the Earth's hydrological cycle. It takes thousands of years. It's very clean water, mineral dense. It has a, you can call it vortex, which is basically like when you know how you see water flowing over rocks. It's kind of basically charging the water up with minerals. It's very alive water. Real water is kind of supposed to have like beneficial probiotics in it as well. This may be more accessible than you think. All you have to do is go to findaspring.com and you may find a local spring. Something to think about. Next, we're going to get into some fun biohacks for water because in addition to having water quality, you can also have some things that may enhance your health every now and then. Number 1 here is hydrogen-rich water. So what is this? Hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the known universe. So that means it can get anywhere in our bodies. And what it does is it acts as an adaptogen. So basically having your body go up or down in certain processes kind of to regulate it, like inflammatory process, for example. It works on the NRF2 pathway in the liver, which is basically an antioxidant system that regulates inflammatory cytokines. Now, in order to take advantage of this, we want to look for things like the hydrogen tablets. They also have elemental magnesium in there to help the hydrogen absorb. So Water and Wellness is a great brand that does this, probably the best. The way you want to do it is it dissolves in the water. So it takes like a couple minutes to dissolve. Then you want to drink it kind of immediately afterwards so the hydrogen doesn't dissolve and evaporate to get those benefits. Number 2 here is Deuterium depleted water. Deuterium is kind of an isotope of hydrogen. It's twice as heavy as hydrogen, and when you get the average water, it's kind of 150 parts per million in terms of deuterium. If we have too much deuterium in our bodies, it kind of can clog up the mitochondria or the nanomotors in there that can cause a whole host of issues. You can naturally deplete deuterium through things like fasting, ketosis. There's also certain brands that make deuterium depleted water to help lower those levels. This may not always be necessary, but it is a valuable tool if you need it. A great brand for that is called Light Water.